Do you guys have questions about the market? The market being the general real estate market, the state of our economy, the NAR lawsuits, and what all of it means for you as a buyer, seller, agent, realtor? Well, stick with me and we'll jump into that. The market is terrible today. Oh my gosh. So if you guys are like me and you follow the stock market, then you'd know how bad it is. Stock market is dropping. It was down like 1,200 points before market hours. Now it's only down like 700. Americans are worried about inflation not being under control, that we're in a recession, and that the Fed is behind the ball. They paused too long, and people are really concerned. We have job numbers coming out next week. We have all the numbers coming out next week. So it's kind of going to be like touch and go all week, I think. I just want to come on here and talk about all the market volatility, all the concerns of NAR. For instance, a lot of people thought, no, this is going to be better. This is going to offer us a lot of fair compensation. Everything's negotiable. This is great for sellers. This is great for buyers. We're all clear about the work that is going to be done, how much we're going to be paying, and everything's going to be awesome. And now buyers are kind of realizing that that means that they might have to pay everything, and they don't have the money. On top of that, they're not going to have closing costs for you as their buyer's agent. So it's a little bit stressful. Everything's negotiable. There's now a spot in the real estate purchase contract that says, hey, seller agrees to pay X amount. But again, everything's negotiable. So seller could essentially say no. Buyers, you need representation. And some buyers are like, I'm going to go straight to the listing agent. Understand something when it comes to the listing agent. The listing agent has signed an agreement with the seller, and they have to work as their fiduciary to get them the best deal. They're not going to be as likely to work to get you the best deal, right? You can represent yourself, but are you going to navigate that timeline perfectly? Are you going to know what they have to disclose, when they have to disclose it? Or are you just going to be on the hook by whatever the seller's agent says? Again, the seller's agent is working for the seller. They're working to get them the best deal possible. With the seller's agent representing both parties, the seller's agent has full control of negotiations. They have full control of getting the seller the best deal. I know there's not a lot of money to go around, but we have to think about your best interest. When you're paying your own agent and you're paying for your representation, you have someone who is there in your corner, not pushing you into a home that you don't love, making sure that you get access to all the homes over and over again, considering all the things that you want in a home, need in a home, making sure that all your wants, needs, and concerns are taken into consideration. And a seller's agent, they need to sell that home. They're not representing you as a buyer's agent. They're only representing that one transaction. The seller's agent is going to make sure that the deal gets done, but it might not be in your best interest. It's just something to think about. There's a lot of things that you need perspective on. There's a lot of things that can go south, especially when it comes to inspections, when it comes to understanding the seller's real property disclosure. And you want someone out there negotiating, advocating. You need to advocate. You're not a real estate expert. Even though there's tons of information online, there's so many nuances in Nevada state law that you aren't even aware of. Seller has to disclose all of these things within a certain time frame. All these things have to happen in the contract in a certain time frame. And if these things don't happen, how are you going to know? How are you going to know that that was your out? How are you going to know that you're able to cancel? How are you going to know this isn't in your best interest? You're just going to be listening to one side. I believe dual representation poses a big problem because nobody's best interest is really considered except the sellers. I don't even like to do double-sided deals. Basically, just personal preference. Nevada frowns on it, but it's not illegal. So as an agent, you can represent both sides, but it poses a conflict of interest. Whose interest are you really into? The listing agent has an agreement with the seller saying, I have to represent you the best. My fiduciary duty is owed to you. Now, when they're just cooperating with other parties and you're not represented, they have the duty to fairness, honesty, disclosure, but they don't have that financial fiduciary duty to make sure your best interest as a buyer is considered. I hope out of everything, agents learn how to talk to their buyers and show what we do as a buyer's agent and what we do as a seller's agent, and why it's important to have both representation. I'm not trying to knock any seller's agents. I'm primarily a seller's agent myself. There is just a fine line where you're only representing really the seller's interests if I'm just the listing agent. So there's many things to think about when we're considering all the new ramifications, and trust me, you get what you pay for. If you're not paying for representation, I'm not saying you will get taken advantage of, but if you don't know how to navigate this purchase contract, you don't know how the process works and the duties that you're owed and the disclosures that you're owed and when you're owed them, there's a chance there will be lawsuits. So that's my 2 cents on that. Back to the market. It's trash today, guys. It's really trash. I'm Valerie Brown with Visit Vegas Homes, and I'm finding places that move you.